Hello, friends, and welcome to your Grow Groups this week. My name is Jessica, and we are so happy to have you join us as we continue our series, Jesus in Real Life. We've been looking at the I am statements of Jesus in different ways that he has claimed in tangible terms who he is. And this week we're talking about how Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. If you've been with us through this series, you'll notice that some of these questions have felt pretty consistent, and that was intentional. We want you to be thinking of different questions in different ways each week as we engage with Jesus in our real lives. This week, I'm joined by Vicki. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
So glad to have you with us again.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yay! So I'm curious, do you have a good sense of direction?
I actually do. Yes. I'm one of those people that I actually enjoy reading maps. I miss maps instead of GPS. But I'm also the kind of person I really like to know where I'm going. And I have this really incredible fear of getting lost. So just a couple years ago, we moved my mom from one small town in Kansas to a smaller town in Kansas to get her closer to other family members. And even though there was a shorter route to get there, I was not familiar with it and was terrified of getting lost on that shorter route. So I kept going the old route, even though it meant an extra 30 or 40 minutes in my drive. So it took a couple months for me to get up the courage to try the new route. And it's awesome. It's through the Flint Hills. It's gorgeous. And it cuts time off the travel.
That's incredible. I feel like there's a sermon in that story.
Yeah. Probably.
That's incredible. I have grown up a lot of my life with GPS. My dad forced me at one point. He was we got on the road and he was would just tell me highway names and I had to look at the signs.
Yes.
So I've learned it, but I have found, I don't know if it's my fear of getting lost or my frustration with traffic, but if I'm traveling downtown, I'll always put my GPS on, even if I know where I'm going, just in case something happens, a road is closed.
Absolutely. In downtown Kansas City, that's one thing. This would be out, like I said, in the Flint Hills of Kansas. There's nothing else around. So that's another reason why I was afraid to get lost, because there's nothing for miles.
That's true. I love that. Well, as we're talking about Jesus as the way, the truth, and the life, what do you first think when you hear that Jesus is the way, truth, and life?
You know, the first thing that I think of when I think about Jesus being the way is all those decision points in life where you, I can't speak for everybody else, but for myself, I would always want God to answer me with a yes, go this way, or no, don't go that way, go this way. I wanted it clear cut. And I wanted to hear it loudly. And as I've aged, I'm discovering it's not that clear cut. Jesus being the way is so much more nuanced. A lot of times I get the impression that it could be, well, you can try this way. It's just that if you go this way, make sure you put these limits in place or these boundaries in place or do this first. And that takes a lot of energy sometimes to be still and be quiet and wait to hear God directing you through those kind of things. It takes energy to be still.
That's true. It doesn't feel right, but it's very true.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I think I was always raised that meant the one, Jesus is the way, the truth, the life. And I'm learning too that if nothing else, it also feels abundant. Jesus gives us life.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Yeah.
It can guide and direct us and enrich our relationships too if we take time to be still and listen. So for me, had I done that sooner, or understood it sooner, I could have saved myself a very painful marriage and a very painful divorce, because I don't think originally it was, yes, be with this person, or no, don't. Jesus kept trying to tell me, well, I would have said yes to certain things earlier on and no to other things earlier on, and it would have changed the power dynamics in the relationship. So the relationship might have worked, and it might not have. Had it worked, though, it would have had a different kind of foundation. So that's where I think it's way more nuanced than we give God credit for.
Or than we want to let go of.
Oh, yes, letting go of control. Yeah, it's really hard.
It's a hard one. Well, then that leads really well into our next question. What things stand in your way or distract you from Jesus as the way to abundant life?
One of my distractions, especially when it comes to relationship, was more or less of an addiction to romance. Our whole cultural idea of falling in love and that kind of thing. So there's that. The other piece for me is that I'm a 9 on the Enneagram, if you're familiar with that. And the animal that best represents a 9 is a sloth. And that would be me. I get tired real easily and love to just sit and watch TV or put jigsaw puzzles together. And it's real easy for me to do those kind of things instead of the tasks it would take to carry out some of the things God is asking me to do. I'm lazy by heart. It's restful. In my nature. Yeah, restful. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all the ways that I can stay busy. Or I'm a 3 if we're talking Enneagram. We're the achievers. And so I just start going, and then I feel like I get so far, and God's like, not quite.
Yeah, slow down, right? It takes energy to be still.
Right.
And
Pausing's productive.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's that, and it's my wanting control, it's my wanting answers that I will keep trying to answer abundant life for Jesus.
Yes. Yes. Give me a yes or a no.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It would make life so much easier, wouldn't it?
Just some direction arrows.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as Jesus gave us these tangible I am statements for us to relate to him, I think one of the good practices we've been doing through this series is finding tangible moments in our lives to remember Jesus. So this week, how can you remember Jesus as you commute from one space to another?
Well, one of the ways is certain mantras. And I have some mantras that I recite every morning to remind myself. One of them being God's love will define me, not my failures. Because in Christ, my identity is a beloved child of God. I know that part comes from Ephesians 1. I don't remember the rest of it. So that's one of them. And then from the emotionally healthy spirituality class, there were several of them in last week's lesson that had to do with, like, I am enough. And my needs are delightful. Yeah, who thinks of that? So for me, being able to remember some of those verses, and I call them a mantra, just little statements, or repeating the I am statements that we're studying right now. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I think for me, my commute's a lot shorter now than it once was. But I have been the person that always has to have music playing in the car or something. So I think for me, even just a week of practicing silence in the car might be a good reminder to pray or to reconnect or to be aware of the community around me and everything I'm passing. So I love that. We have 2 very great things that we can offer, and we can't wait to hear what your group comes up with this week as a tangible response to that. Vicki, thank you so much for being a part of this Grow Group today.
Thank you. You're welcome. I love being here.
Thank you. Good. We are prayerful for you all this week. Continue to pray for one another and check in. And we can't wait to finish the series with you, Jesus in Real Life. Take care.